Do you ever find yourself worried that maybe you were just never compatible? Or feeling like, why is marriage this hard? Or looking at your spouse and feeling like, I keep getting the ick, or I keep getting hurt, or I keep feeling frustrated, like we're going through the motions again and again and having the same fight every single week. If you feel any of this, you are so not alone. And I am here to share one very important key hack that has changed my marriage and the marriage of thousands of parents who I coach inside of my programs, Married You and Desire Lab. I will leave the links to those below. Make sure to check them out. Hi, I'm Avital. Welcome back to Hi Fam. I'm here to help you to build a strong family culture. I'm the founder of Hi Fam, I'm the mother of 5, and I coach parents from all over the world on how to create a home life that brings them a sense of deep meaning and bliss. If that sounds good to you, then keep watching. Make sure that you're subscribed, ring the notification bell, and press the like button because that really helps me out. All right, so what is this big thing that I'm going to share today? It's in fact a really important, I guess, secret hack, tip, trick, approach that I think can transform any marriage as long as you're married to basically a good guy. So I'm not talking about marriages where there is abuse, where there's gambling, where there's addiction, or where there's a mental health crisis. I know that what I'm about to share is not going to be enough to save a marriage in those situations, and some marriages can't be saved. I know that some marriages need to end in divorce, and I'm not talking about those marriages here. What I'm talking about is two good people who are, basically decent to each other, but who sometimes treat each other with some hostility, have repeating frustrations, maybe distance, maybe a sexless life for a while, maybe just grinding frustrations and a sense that it's just not working very well, but you wish it could be better. Or maybe you have a pretty good marriage overall, but you have some dips. You have those repeating fights. You have the particular key issues like maybe sex or your in-laws or money that you just can't, seem to align on. And you just wish that you could give your marriage an upgrade. Either way, this is going to really, really help you. So what am I talking about? Well, many, many times when women come to me with, frustrations in their marriage, one of the things that I notice that they have is a set of stories, a narrative, a particular approach about their husband or about the marriage itself. They'll tell a story and they'll highlight and bring evidence and bring specific situations that have happened that support their negative approach, their negative belief about their marriage. So what they'll do is they'll point out stories that frame their husband in maybe a selfish light, or frame their marriage in an incompatible way. Like, you see, we are on opposite sides of the political spectrum. You see, we can never agree when it comes to the kids' schooling. You see, he's a night owl and I'm a morning person. And through these stories or through these situations, like he didn't really show up for me properly when I was giving birth. He didn't know how to put the car seat in the car. Or, when I first introduced him to my parents, he was distracted and he didn't really sit down and talk to them properly. We kind of carry these maybe wounds, these pain stories, these sob stories, these sad stories from our past, and often project them out onto the entire relationship. Now, I don't know about you, I certainly have those stories. We have them in our parenting, we have them from our childhoods ourselves, and we have them from our marriages. Stories that we think epitomize the very issue, the very, dysfunction, the very pain point of our relationship, and that perfectly illustrate exactly our grievances, exactly what we're talking about, exactly what makes this relationship doomed to fail and doomed for misery. And now here's the thing. The way that we tell those stories can illustrate our point, can strengthen our point, and can bring more evidence to the ways that maybe our marriage is not a good marriage. Maybe our man isn't the right man for us. Maybe this is doomed to fail. But we could also look at it through an entirely different lens. Now, this takes effort, and this might not come naturally to all of us. And sometimes it can feel a bit like faking it, or a bit like a game, or like we're tricking ourselves. But in this video, I'm going to break down for you why I think it's wise and why I think it's not trickery, or if it is, it's positive and helpful trickery. It's useful as long as I say, you're in a, safe, stable marriage. Here's what I mean. You probably also have stories that show your husband in a positive light, that point out his generosity, his romance, his commitment, his excellent fatherhood, or family orientation, or all of the ways that he works hard for you as a family. In fact, take one simple little story. A man comes to the dinner table and he gets out his phone and he says, sorry, work is really intense right now. I need to just answer a few emails, even though we're sitting at the table together and none of us like someone on the phone when we're sitting and having dinner with them. In that moment, me as his wife, I can interpret that as you're disrespectful. You put your family last. You don't care about us. I've repeatedly asked you not to bring the phone to the table. It's bad modeling for our children. I'm modeling something good. I'm actually controlling myself. I'm using self-discipline. Why can't you? You're bad at time management. You let work run through our entire lives, Sundays, weekends, evenings. The kids never see you come out from behind your phone, right? I could make it into such a pain story. It could be a story, by the way, justifiably, right? It's valid. Our pain stories are real. I could interpret it in the least generous way possible, in the least charitable way possible, and see him through the worst light. And by the way, I might be right. Maybe everything I just said was correct. But there are probably other interpretations of the same capital T truth that might be equally correct. I don't know. Maybe everything I just said is correct, that he puts his work first, that, he's not modeling good things for the kids. That it's disrespectful to me. I worked on this dinner and you're just sitting there on your phone. But what might also be correct, maybe even at the same time, is that this man is deeply committed to providing for his family, that he's working so hard and shouldering such a massive financial burden in a time of rising cost of living and inflation and recession. Maybe him bringing the phone to the table is a reflection of how committed he is to family time, that even though he should still be at the office, working there, he does want to see his kids and his wife and he wants to be around the table. So he's bringing it to the table and it's kind of a compromise that he's at least squeezing in dinner with the family. Maybe I could see his intense care, his self-sacrifice, his long hours of hard work, his big anxiety over our financial situation as love, as commitment, as a positive story, as an optimistic characteristic. Maybe it's my interpretation that makes it positive or negative. Maybe I could offer a more generous, kinder, a more charitable understanding of his behaviors and his actions. Hey, real quick before we get back to that point. Do you ever feel like your marriage is fine, but also kind of flat? Like you're married to a good man, your home is stable, but still something is missing. Do you ever catch yourself wondering, is this all there is? Or repeating the same arguments over and over again, leading you to ask yourself, did I marry the wrong person? If that is you, you are so not alone. I have been there and so have thousands of my students. But I created something for you. It's called Married You, like Married University. And it's your step-by-step roadmap to rebuilding the love, the friendship, and the communication that you seek inside of your relationship. No therapy, no books, no dragging him to anything. This is something you can do all on your own. You see, we were never really taught the marriage skills that we need to create longevity and joy in our relationship. But if you want the marriage of your dreams with the partner that you've got, then go to married-u.com or click on the link somewhere around this video and start with my free masterclass, Marriage by Design. And the good news is you can do this completely alone. He doesn't even need to know. This is not going to be one more thing for you to argue about. So let's end the madness, but not the marriage. Go to married-u.com. All right, let's get back to the show. Now, sometimes this might feel like a bit of a stretch. And you might say to me, yeah, Avital, okay, I can look more positively at what he's doing. I can, minimize my criticism of the negatives. I can maximize and compliment him on the good things that he does. But I'm just tricking myself. I'm just cheating myself out of the truth. I'm just letting him off the hook. And I'm not being honest about what I really feel about his actions and behaviors. But here's what I want to say to that. Some people lean more pessimistic in their temperament, and some people lean more optimistic in their temperament. Both the people who see the glass half empty and the people who see the glass half full are telling the truth, right? Those are two true things about the situation. And both are telling themselves a narrative. They're putting a spin on it. They're choosing what they focus on. Both of those people are, in a sense, faking it or tricking their brain or, artificially forcing a particular worldview onto what is an objective situation. The glass is as it is. It is full 50% and empty 50%. But the interpretation that each person is giving it is, in a sense, fiction, right? I mean, it's their choice. They made it up. I made up that I want to focus on the empty half of the glass, and the other person made up that they want to focus on the full part of the glass. And here's the crux. So if you're multitasking, come back to me. Here's the real thing that I want to get across to you. If you're making it up either way, why not focus on the one that brings you more joy, love, optimism, hope, and connection? Both stories are fictional. Whether I see him as, a selfish workaholic, must be nice to always be on your phone, I'm stuck here with the kids. Or if I see him as a selfless, providing masculine father, wow, thank you so much for all the work you do for our family. Both of those are fiction. I'm choosing to see the situation through a particular lens, through a particular color. Am I painting it as rosy or am I seeing red, right? What am I choosing to see in this situation? Either way, it's my choice. Either way, it's something that I can suggest to my brain. And the results will be that I'll feel something completely different in both scenarios. Now, my suggestion, my hope, my wish, my kind of prayer or blessing for us all is that we choose optimism, that we choose to view things through a positive lens, that we choose the more charitable and generous interpretation, that we choose to see people, and particularly our husbands I'm talking about here, through a lens that really amplifies and platforms their successes, the good things about them. And let's go a little deeper into why that would be a good choice. I mean, I think it speaks for itself. I think it's clear on the face of it why you might want to do that. But if I go a little bit deeper, if you constantly double down on the ways he's insecure or he lacks confidence, he lacks, work ethic, he's lazy, he doesn't work out enough, he's not great with the kids, he's too impatient, he raises his voice, he's bad at time management, he leaves dirty socks on the floor. I know you have a list. I know. And if you focus on that list, then what do you get at the end of it? Well, what you get at the end of it is that, babe, you're married to a loser. That's the prize. If you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And if you keep convincing yourself that your husband is a loser, then you're just the loser who married a loser. It just makes both of you a loser and it makes you miserable. Instead, I think you might prefer to be married to a winner. I think you might prefer to feel like I won the jackpot. I'm the luckiest girl alive. Pinch me, is this real? What a prince, what a king. This is awesome. You're my hero. Now, you might say, but Avital, I don't feel that way. That's not authentic. And I'll say to you, look, the truth is that we authentically feel feelings that match our thoughts. And if you think better things about your partner, if you view them through a better colored light, right, then you will start to feel those things authentically. But I want to remind you of a very ancient Jewish saying that says, feelings follow actions. The heart follows your actions. The way you treat someone, the way you talk to someone, the way you talk about them, the way you think about them will drag after it your feelings. Your feelings will come. If you're nurturing and loving and seeing someone in a positive light, you will actually also spike all of the chemical and the neurochemical reactions that are supposed to spike things like oxytocin, right? The love hormone. So it's actually really cool. It doesn't have to be authentic to begin with, but if you train your brain to pick up on positive things, your feelings will follow. You will start to feel those things. You'll be surprised at how passionately in love you could feel if you start looking at him through that lens. But yes, it does involve work. But you're doing that work anyway. You're talking to yourself anyway. You're telling stories in your brain anyway. You're repeating these intrusive thoughts anyway. He's like this, he's like that, he did this, he did that. Why did I even marry him? What are we even doing together? Oh, why does he behave this way? Oh, he's so gross. You're doing all of that talking in your own head anyway. You might as well start flipping the channel, changing the channel to a channel that serves you, to a channel that moves you forward, to a channel that takes you where you actually want to get in this marriage, which I imagine is to a place of love and passion and desire, right? If this has spoken to you, this is exactly the type of brain training that I can offer you in a more structured and methodical way inside of Married You. Married You is Married University, my course where I teach you the marriage skills that no one teaches you. And the truth is that if you look around at culture at large, they're just going to be teaching you to double down on complaining, that venting and ranting needs validation and justification and listening. And yes, thank you for being real. And thank you for being honest. And thank you for being authentic when you trash your husband online. Thank you for sharing this and normalizing the difficulties that we're all feeling. That type of cultural idea, that type of approach to marriage seeps into all of our brains and poisons us with thinking that it's normal to constantly trash the person that we're with, that we're supposed to love forever, that we're supposed to be attracted to constantly, put ourselves on a pedestal and feel like we're the prize, we're the queen, we deserve queen treatment, but never to think about offering king treatment and really to just treat men kind of rubbishly altogether. So that's not going to give any of us what we actually want in our marriages, which I think is, that chemistry and desire and passion and that fun and love and joy and connection. It's not going to take us there. And that's why we need to actually train our eyes, our brains, kind of, I would say, immunize yourself. It's kind of like an inoculation against those, honestly, rather terrible, detrimental ideas. Now, don't get me wrong. I want to say there is a place, but it's a small place for, complaining, for whining, for having a pity party, for hating something, for getting triggered, for getting really annoyed, for being authentic and honest about our issues, and for having very real conversations about division of labor, childcare, about how we run our home, about our values, about our lifestyle choices, about our sex life, about money, about all sorts of things that couples typically fight over. Those conversations need to be had. I'm not suggesting for a moment that you just whitewash everything and put toxic positivity on everything and everything's fine and just wrap it with a bow and ignore it. I'm not suggesting that you suppress your feelings. I'm not suggesting that you ignore issues. I'm suggesting that there is a mature, honest, a helpful, effective way of dealing with those issues as a mature couple. And it's not going to be through constantly feeding the resentment that builds inside you, constantly feeding the criticism and wearing those pessimistic lenses about your partner or about yourself and your marriage. So if you want to learn how to actually solve those problems, how to have the tough conversations, how to renegotiate the terms and conditions, how to divide the labor, how to raise the kids, if you want to learn all of those things, join Married You, because that is where I will teach you them. And if you want to learn how to view your partner with a spark, with flirtation, with fun, and to maintain that girlfriend energy, that joy, that attraction that brought you together in the first place, then also join Desire Lab. It's an add-on and it will be the full picture, goes together like peanut butter and jelly to give you the marriage of your dreams with the partner that you've got. Now, let me know in the comments below, has this got to you? Have you found yourself getting overly critical, worked up, pessimistic, or just complaining a lot about your partner, seeing his flaws in a magnifying glass and minimizing all the great things about him? If you have, leave me a comment below. I would love to hear about it. And meanwhile, go over to married-you.com and check it out. So much love to you. Keep on living that high fam life, and I'll see you in the next video.